old Shaker hymn, famously arranged by Aaron Copeland for the ballet Appalachian Spring, and I think it's a very fitting thing to do here as we coming out of spring into summertime. I'm sure we can all feel it in this meeting house, the heat of summer coming. I printed out a bunch of music. They're on the pews, so if we pass them this way, or if you know the lyrics. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank you, Devon. And good morning, friends. Welcome, welcome. Family members, please come up front. These first two rows are yours. So feel free. You are most welcome. Families of those who are graduating, please come up front. You're welcome in the first two rows. And special welcome to those who are online. We are happy to have you, and we're happy that you received the link. We are going to start now with a period of silent worship. Those who are new to Quakerism or the way Friends do things, it's all in a spirit of silent worship. So what we're doing here isn't your regular graduation. We have meeting for worship with attention to graduation. And I'll request you, as I've done the past 8 years, to hold your applause till the very end. And let's see if this is the year when friends listen to my request. So once again, families in the first two rows here to my left, you are most welcome. And so we'll start with our opening worship, and the graduating class will walk in at that point, and then we'll continue with our program. I'd like you to call special attention to today's program. You will see it has a theme around enacting an ethic of care and responsibility. And at the very end, there is a query for you to reflect on at the end of the ceremony. So let us go ahead and settle in with silent worship. You are most welcome once again. Families, students up there, my colleagues, faculty, alumni, our supporters, our honorary alums, and our donors, welcome to the 188th graduation ceremony here. And as I said earlier, it's a meeting for worship with attention to graduation. So we are holding up in the light our graduating class here, the very powerful 7 seniors you see, soon to be alums. So, here to introduce the class of 2026 and offer some reflections on Olney Friends School and our community is Vicky Lowry, a long-serving faculty member and Dean of Students. You are most welcome, Vicky.
Good morning. I am honored to be here this morning to introduce to you Olney Friends School's graduating class of 2026. We are here today to celebrate these amazing 7 students. They are kind, compassionate, hardworking individuals. They support one another in good times and not so good times. They fill the hallways with laughter that echoes throughout the building. And I mean, it echoes in the building. They have been excellent leaders and role models. As they continue their educational path, I am confident they will carry with them their love of Olney Friends School. Giselle Jembo de la Torre arrived at Olney in August of 2024. She will attend the College of Wooster in Wooster, Ohio. She plans to study neuroscience and go on to medical school. Jerry Nzogi Chiwipka arrived at Olney in January 2025. He will attend Wittenberg University in Springfield, Ohio. He plans to study physics and engineering as part of Wittenberg's 3-2 program with Columbia University, spending 3 years at Wittenberg and 2 at Columbia. Vicky Chirabo arrived at Olney in January 2023. She will attend the College of Wooster in Wooster, Ohio. She plans on taking a pre-med track at Wooster while double majoring in biology and gender studies. Denise Cobell arrived at Olney in February 2025. She will attend St. John's College in Santa Fe, New Mexico. She plans to study the great books of Western civilization, focusing on mathematics and philosophy with minors in natural sciences, language, and music. She plans on completing her pre-med requirements during the summer breaks and attending medical school after her undergraduate education. Malaika Namatovu arrived at Olney in September of 2023. She will attend the College of Wooster in Wooster, Ohio. She has multiple interests, including finance, economics, and she plans to study at Wooster. Salma Nakazi Owor arrived at Olney in August 2023. She will attend Soka University of America in Aliso Vallejo, California. She plans to study chemical engineering. Ingabua Tuseme arrived at Olney in August 2022. He will attend Rutgers University in Newark, New Jersey. He has interests in business studies, finance, and investment banking. The future is yours. I hope you pursue your passions, find happiness, and share it with the world. As I reflect on the Olney community, I sometimes find it hard to put into words how much it means to be a part of such a wonderful place. It's a place of calmness and makes you feel accepted and loved at all times. Olney lives in our hearts and our souls. It's a part of us and it's who we are. I encourage you all to share your Olney stories, memories, accomplishments with students, alumni, family, friends, and even strangers. Let the world know just how special the Olney Friends School community is. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vicky. Vicky is wonderful, and Vicky also doesn't like to have the spotlight on her. But today, we do have to have a little spotlight on Vicky. It's an event for the class of 2026, but this class would not be here without Vicky's support. And in fact, those who were here last night for the Alumni Association meeting, you got to experience part of what this class has done during this year, and actually even before that. And they've developed so much as public speakers, as thinkers, as caring human beings in our community, in large part because of Vicky Lowry here. And so she wasn't here for our award ceremony, wasn't here unfortunately for the Alumni Association meeting, because I sensed she knew that there would be a spotlight on her, and that today, since it's about the students, we wouldn't shine a spotlight on her, but we have to, because she's been an incredible dean of students, and she's retiring at the end of this month. We'll have a new dean of students, Jordan Danford, who has been an understudy here for the past 6 months, or close to 6 months, and Vicky has graciously been transferring roles and responsibilities to Jordan. It's been part of our succession planning. It's worked well. We all know in such a community, you can't just have a shock departure. If it happens, everyone is so affected, and it takes the new person a while to learn about the school. But in this case, again, Vicky being a caring person she made sure the person taking over from her has the history of the students, has the way we do things. There are many invisible things at Olney that are not in manuals. There's things, the way we do things at Olney, that have to be passed on, person to person. And Vicky has just been incredible, even to me. I mean, this is my 8th year, but I never failed to go to Vicky to get some good thinking going, especially if my emotions are running high. She'll always find a way to get you grounded and get you to do what you're supposed to do, including facing difficult decisions. She will not make them for you, but will hold you up and make sure you make them. The toughest decisions I've really made in collaboration with Vicky Lowry. We love you, Vicky. We are going to miss you, but good thing you're just a mile away. So you never know, with Olney students, we might pop in from time to time. And here's what you missed, part of what you missed during the award ceremony. We have a certificate for you in recognition of your service to the school. The spotlight says, Olney Friends School hereby awards the Lifetime Achievement Award to Vicky Lowry in recognition of your dedicated service to the Olney Friends School community and your enduring legacy of grace, consistency, and care. Thank you so much, Vicky. You are an incredible human being. And next, you'll see in your program that this time, again, in addition to that theme that should be a thread from beginning to end in our ceremony, you will see that we have the senior research papers for all these seniors. Just what their that paper title and their research question and a little blurb. So you will see that in the program and you can ask them questions afterwards. I'll say a little bit about this process. The senior research project is a standalone class, and you get to do whatever you want with the project as long as at the end you produce a 20-page research paper. And really it's a difficult process. It's designed to be difficult so that students can see that they can go beyond their present limits. Many of them, as you heard yesterday, self-imposed limits, and so overcoming those limits, and as we say, walking through the writer's block and sharing a bit of wisdom with the community. So the students did their research work. They presented it in a few ways. Number one, they have their posters, and you can find them in a main hall there in the main building. And secondly, they did a presentation to the whole community. And we had no sports. We did 30 minutes per student over the course of 2 days. So we had 3 on the first day and 4 on the second day. They were incredible presentations. And here's what Leonard said. He said, this is incredible. We've never had this kind of process with the senior research papers, and look at these students up there presenting so confidently and answering questions. And we intentionally did not call the presentations oral exams because we knew there would be another block there, but they were oral exams. And the students passed with flying colors, and I know because they were graded. We had 4 faculty members who graded every bit of the presentation, but additionally, every community member got a form for their reflections. There were 5 questions. What did you learn? What advice do you have for the senior? And so on. So all of us got to participate in this senior research process, and we are so proud that the students made it. So after those presentations, they also received review comments from an internal reviewer, one of my colleagues, a faculty member, and then an external reviewer, a practitioner in the field that the students chose to research on. And that was a very new experience because these are people who didn't know the students. So they could give advice on their papers based on their expertise, and the students received that feedback with, again, a lot of grace, and they had exactly 1 week to make corrections and submit final papers, and they all did. The papers are available publicly forever, so you can all read them if you would like to, but I can tell you, they are excellent papers. And some of the reviewers say, we can't believe the students at the high school level write this well, think so deeply, and actually care about the world. And to me, if people out there who don't know our school can say that about our students, we've done our job, especially that part that says they care about the world. So it's not a selfish endeavor, it is for all of us. We won't get to hear all of these senior papers, but we'll get to hear a little bit from 3 students. And the first one is from Alaika Namatovu, an intergenerational trauma. She will say a few things about her project, and then we'll have 2 other students and move on from there. Malaika, the microphone is yours.
Good morning, everyone. My research paper centers around how behaviors that once protected one generation harm the other. So my guiding question for my research paper is, why do the protective and survival strategies at once that protected a generation harm, why they harm the other, and why they shape the lives of people that didn't live in the world that created them? So as I was writing my paper, I spent months racking my brain on why the topic mattered to me or to anyone. And one of the answers I found was trauma not only persists through suffering, but it persists through the transmission of adaptive survival strategies. Emotional suppression, hypervigilance, anxiety, overachievement, relentless competition, and silence emerge for good reason, but the challenge arises when they begin to govern the lives of children, communities, families, and individuals that don't know the origin of the trauma that they face and they live through. One example is Joseph. Joseph's an offspring of Holocaust survivors, and he's someone who was brought light to by a professor of psychiatry and neuroscience, Rachel Yohuda, and she played a big part in my research. And 3 important things that were brought up in my research through Joseph. 1 is trauma leaves biological traces in the body. 2, trauma can be carried through generations, and it's not someone's fault that they carry the trauma that they have, but it's their responsibility to heal from it and face the hardships that come along with the trauma. But in writing my paper, I realized what's at stake is so much bigger than Joseph or a child, because childhood is the most vulnerable window for trauma transmission, because a child is still developing in ways of thought, governance, and leadership. So if communities and families continue to not have a language for the harm that is described as love, protection, and care, their loved ones are subject to a kind of pain that they don't know. And you might be thinking, what kinds of pain? Various kinds of pain, like hypertension, anxiety, PTSD. And PTSD can come from not even your experience, but from that generations ago. Just like Joseph, his parents were 2 different people, although they faced the same thing. His mother was very vocal about the Holocaust, while his father wasn't. And in doing so, he became a person who is hypervigilant. And he's constantly triggered by attacks made on marginalized groups. So if communities begin to name what their harmful experiences have caused them and their families and them as an individual, then trauma can be redefined. Trauma is redefined then as a collective inheritance that belongs to history and not to the people that carry the history with them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Malaika. Malaika, right here, as a sophomore, and I can tell you she's done great work as a student, and she landed here having chosen electives, not knowing the teachers, and she spent the first few months of her time at Olney in the library. She had a permanent spot there on account of the electives she chose. They were all heavy electives, and she went through them, and she's here. She's the president of her senior class. Great, great leader, and someone who's really held her class together. So you've seen a little bit of Malaika's talent and her gifts. Next up, we'll have Giselle Jimbo, a student from Ecuador, and there is a title in the program, but the real title here is of trauma and biology. And we sat around looking for this title for a while, and eventually it came up, and she said, that's the title. Leave that title. That's what I want. So here's Giselle.
Good morning, everyone. For my senior research paper, I explored a question that expands beyond psychology and enters human experience and biology. Why is it that sometimes, even when we understand our pain, it still remains with us? To explore my question, I followed two stories, Lara and Tina. Their stories became a way of exploring how trauma can shape people beneath a level of conscious memory, and why healing is more complex than simply understanding what happened. Many of us grew up believing that finding answers meant healing. That if we can explain what happened, understand it, or make sense of it, we can move on. But my research led me to a different possibility. Through studying developmental trauma, attachment theory, neuroscience, and psychology, I learned that some of our deepest wounds are formed before we ever have the words to describe them. They are stored in our body, in our nervous system, and in the ways we interact with ourselves and with one another. One of the most powerful lessons I learned is that understanding and healing are not always the same thing. A person can understand why they have pain, but that they still carry with it. Healing is the power or ability to cause the wounds or illnesses of others to heal, whether through practicing medicine or other methods. Through my research, my paper revealed that healing requires regulation, relationship, and then reflection. My paper revealed that healing is about learning, that our experiences do not have to define who we are for the rest of our lives. It is about discovering that even when wounds run deep, growth remains possible. As we graduate and step into a future filled with uncertainty, challenges, and change, I think this lesson extends beyond trauma. Every person here carries experiences that others cannot see. Every person here has faced struggles that helped shape who they are. My research taught me that being human is about a remarkable capacity to adapt, to connect, and to continue becoming. And perhaps that is what healing truly is. Learning that our story does not end there. You are not your trauma. That's just experience you live. You are the own author, producer, and main character of your story. Thank you.
Thank you, Giselle. And Giselle came to Olney through Dear and Caroline Stanley, and she had a brother who graduated. She has a brother who graduated from Olney in 2019. But Caroline wrote me and said, I met Giselle, and she must come to Olney French School. And Caroline was right. Giselle has been wonderful. Was a great student, and I can remember her first day, just in a daze, what am I supposed to do? And now she's the one telling people what to do. So there we go. The third student now goes out. We'll zoom out into something else, into South Sudan, and his classmates, sometimes will refer to something he says as South Sudan. Give us a lesson from South Sudan. They say it jokingly, but there is a lot behind those questions. So here we go with Jerry on unshackling the mind, and we'll talk about South Sudan's liberation story. Welcome, Jerry.
Hello everyone. What conditions constitute true liberation? This question guided my research. There's a belief that independence promises freedom, and yet South Sudan proves this assumption wrong. More than a decade after independence, the country suffers with conflict, instability, and underdevelopment. This reality led me to ask a deeper question: can a nation achieve genuine liberation without psychological transformation? To understand this, I went into Paulo Freire's Pedagogy of the Oppressed, where he examines the role of education in shaping agency, critical thinking, and self-determination. And this revealed a larger truth to me. Liberation goes beyond removing external controls and enabling individuals to recognize their ability to think and act upon transforming and reshaping their realities. The challenges in South Sudan cannot be blamed on constitutions or governments, because the country faces a challenge of cultivating within citizens the ability to reflect and intervene on the proceedings of their reality. And therefore, education is the most vital foundation for liberation, because education shapes the way people think about society, about themselves, and their ability to act. My research led me to conclude that liberation goes beyond governments, beyond policies and rules. Liberation begins within the mind, within the heart, and within the spirit. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jerry. Mind, heart, spirit. I think your classmates have something new to discuss with you after graduation, after this ceremony. That's just wonderful to know that there are leaders out there who realize that there is a need to have this balance, a need to have those three aspects, mind, heart, and spirit, in conversation with each other, long before policies and practices get into an institution. So that's really the way I view our school, Olney French School, and its foundations. And wherever we are, whatever people may think of who we are, we have these leaders who can see that need for that balance and how much we need it in these current times. So that's something to be hopeful about. Next up, we have our class representatives, and this year it is plural class representatives, and we have a 4-year senior and a 1.5-year senior. So the one who spent the most time at Olney and the one who spent the least time at Olney in this class. So I invite Vicky and Denise. Please, welcome.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, friends, family, board members, faculty, and students. Thank you for coming to celebrate us. My name is Vicky, and as Christian said, I'm a 4-year senior. I came here as a freshman, a short little girl who could not even say anything.
My name is Denise. I came here as a junior, and I'm the youngest senior.
Well, as Christian said, 2 people are presenting the class speech, but for us, we want to look at it as one voice. So I want my sister Denise to continue. Okay. Anyways, yeah. So me and Denise are speaking on behalf of my classmates. But I want to first say something about our Olney community. This place has different people with different cultures, with different beliefs, different ideas, but we are all one, and with all our differences, we are able to sustain the Olney community. Before I came to Olney, I thought I could do anything. I thought I was confident, I thought I could speak in front of people. But when I came here, everything changed. My first presentation, I cried because I was really nervous, and I wasn't able to speak in front of people because there were different eyes. I was in a different context. I was out of my depth. And then I remember running into Vicky's arms, and she told me, "It's okay. Everyone here loves you, and we all know you're going to be a better person, and everything is fine." And every time I presented, I would go to her, and she would tell me the same thing. And now, as I present now, like currently, I know everything is fine just because of what Vicky did for me. And so, community has been there to build me as a person. I have grown with this community. I have become someone I cannot even recognize if we go back in time. Yeah.
I want to tell you something about this class. Something I watched happen during our senior trip. At Hawking Hills, as we sat down for our first meal together, we laughed, we teased each other, we joked, and at the end of the meal, someone pulled out a card game. It was called Let's Talk About It. And really, I could credit this card game for bringing us closer, but while we played, we all were faced with a choice, to be honest. When I first arrived here, a faculty member sat with me and talked to me about silence. They explained to me something that I haven't stopped thinking about, that people don't like to sit in silence, not because of distractions. But they told me it's because people avoid stillness because it forces us to reflect, to look inwards and stare into a void. They said that void stares right back. It knows every inch of who we are. So what did the class of 2026 do when they looked into that void? We saw ourselves. And for most of us, that was the hardest thing to see. I'll speak for myself because an experience last summer with the support of my teachers in this community, I got into a really, really competitive summer program. And I did all the work, I wrote all the essays. And as the days crept in, a voice got really loud. You're not good enough, you're not supposed to be here. I sat with that same faculty member, and they named exactly what was going on. I was self-sabotaging. I was the biggest thing holding myself back. That's what Olney does for you. It sees you. Even when you're trying so hard not to be seen. This is the kind of work the school asks of you. To hold silence and doubt, to face it and make peace with it. Every person in our class has stood at that edge. We've all looked into that void. And we all, in our own ways, have chosen to keep going. That's not a small thing. So I want you to understand what Olney really feels like. At Olney, people with entirely different backgrounds and different walks of life. People who you see every day, argue with, sit with, they see you. You can't hide from them. Everyone around you is doing the hardest thing a person can do. They're trying to figure out who they are. And they're doing it extremely loud in front of you. And that's not a comfortable place to be in. At Olney, you become a steward of the land. You care for animals, for plants. You learn how to write papers. You learn how to present it to your peers. And what this community does is it pushes back. It confronts you. It asks you to reflect. Olney doesn't let you sit in that silence. It insists you push through. To make peace with what you found in that void. And the real reason that's possible is because of the different cultures, beliefs, and people who walk in and out of this community. The person that you see in that void shows you that the work that you're doing at this school is not universally unique to you. That fear is human, and you're becoming.
To the faculty, friends, students, parents, you made this possible. You are the reason why we are here. You are the reason why we are thriving as a class. Thank you so much for your support. We wouldn't be as happy as we are right now without each one of you. Each one of you has built us into responsible, caring human beings who love the environment, who love the community, and who love each other.
To the class of 2026, you're the people who did not sit in that silence and stay there. You kept moving, you looked forward, and you chose to be honest with yourself and with this community. You made space for people who arrived with nothing in common with you to be accepted and to be willing to try.
Congratulations to the class of 2026. I love you guys.
And we're extremely proud to stand here with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Vicky and Denise. And these two speakers have another thing in common. Even though they came to Olney at different times, the time between their application And when they go to Olney Friends School, it's exactly the same, 16 days from application to arriving on campus. It's amazing. So we thank Moses and Agnes Bamwami for giving us this gift of Vicky and these years that she spent here. I know that she will not disappoint you. She hasn't disappointed us. She hasn't disappointed herself either. And she's still becoming, growing into her greatness on her own terms. And we are so proud that she can articulate exactly where she wants to go and own her decisions. And we thank Christina Tim and Humphrey Cobell for sharing Denise with us as well, because she arrived here like a storm. After a few days, as if she'd been here for her entire life. And that's how you know someone meant to be at Olney. They start getting to know things, those imperceptible things that I spoke about earlier. That's what makes us who we are here in our village, and I keep emphasizing that point because it's so easy to dismiss Olney Friends School until you realize the kind of work it does within. All of us who've gone to school here, who've worked here, it continues many years later. This is my 25th year reunion. Almost the same date, 25 years ago, I was sitting on this bench, and the work continues. I think that's part of the reason why this class is very near and dear to me. Very special class, and I can't wait to be a 50-year class when they are a 25-year class, and to see what they're doing. What they're going to do is going to be incredible. So there we are. We've now come to the point of awarding our diplomas, and I've joked with these seniors the entire year. I've said, we don't know who will graduate. Maybe 2 of you. We only ordered 5 diplomas. We didn't sign your diplomas. We'll see what happens. And this morning I sent them a message saying, all your diplomas have been signed. So there we go. And except Inga's, of course. But he knows it's been signed. He's worked very, very hard to be here. Proud of you, Inga. Very proud of you, Salma, Malaika, Denise, Vicky, Jerry, and Giselle. You are 7 incredible human beings. Let's see what happens, including the jokes after this ceremony. Okay, here we go. First up, Giselle Jimbo de la Torre. Congratulations. Let's stand and show it to your parents over there. Parents are right there up front. And where's Dia? Where's Caroline? Ah, there they are. Yes, Jerry Zoji Chiwika. I think we have to show it to your mom and dad, that camera. Yes, Pauline, here's Jerry. Pauline, here's Jerry. You asked me whether Jerry would graduate and whether he should really come as a junior. And you are right, here he is, graduating, a very different person than when he came in. You should have seen him earning all the awards he earned just on Thursday. His community loves him, and he loves this community, despite his exterior, his silence sometimes. He's such a funny person and a caring one as well. Yeah, he just told me to stop. Okay, here we go with Victor Tirabo, and you know, you should have seen her in her t-shirt. It says, I'm not being as dramatic as I could be. That t-shirt captures Vicky's spirit in its entirety, in all its glory. Shabo may have taken it out. All right. Uncle Andra back there. Yeah. Congratulations. Okay, we move on. Denise Victoria Copel. You have her? Wonderful. Oh, you want to stay? That is fine. Here you go, Chabo. She wants to stay. Yes, that's Denise. We always tease her. We say Denise will show up to college and say, here I am. I've arrived and I've done my homework 5 times already. Do you want me to do it a 6th time? So there she is. Okay. Adam, let's see if I remember everything. Yes, Malaika, Esther, Alana, Namadov. There we go. Where do you want to show? Uncle first, mommy first. And to the camera here. Congratulations. They all don't want to leave. Don't worry, there are blanks in there. You're fine. I hope all the people in Munyonyo you've seen Malaika here, and Adam must be in tears. Eh? Malaika, where are you going, Malaika? Next up, Salma Nakazi Owor, better known as Royalty. There you go. Do you also want to stay? Where's your sister? There we go. Now I'm sure mom is online as well.
Thank you, Kristen.
Yes, that is Salma. One of our favorite books is The Brothers Karamazov, especially the character Grushenka. I'm not going to say anymore, don't worry about it. But I had to mention the book. And yes, the royalty thing is correct, say royalty. And that's how she signed her poster. Everyone signed a name, she put a crown on hers. That was her signature. So, another dynamic human being who wrote on hair politics, you can tell. And there we go. California doesn't know what's coming. And now, I think it is fitting that the big man on campus is here. 4 years senior, Inga Buatusime, and I think Joe Sullivan is another parent here. He's been his advisor for all 4 years. And Joe has put in that time, and I'm sure he will not say it, but he must be in tears right now. Seeing you graduate today, I'm also very proud of you. And Mom is as well. She told me on the phone last night. So, it's there, Inga, unsigned. Where's Mom? Excellent. Congratulations.
Thank you, Christian. Thank you, Christian.
Wonderful. So far, no tears. They're close, but so far they haven't come out. I'm sure they will. Yes, our commencement speaker, Nelson Sewankambo, let me back up here and say there are two people who are not here today. Our commencement speaker, Nelson Sewankambo, and Jerry's mother, Olney, both medical doctors, both education administrators. Jerry's mother is a president of a university in the British system, a vice chancellor of a University of Science and Technology. And about 5 minutes before coming to this event, there was a post on X that said, "Here are the heroes of Uganda and why Uganda has Ebola under control." And those two people were listed. There were about 7 people on the list. Pauline made the list, Nelson made the list. And both are not here because of that Ebola outbreak. So there are restrictions, travel restrictions, even with their special visas, they couldn't make it. But at the same time, they're also serving actively in the response to this most recent Ebola outbreak. All the cases in Uganda right now are under control. 13 in the hospital, 4 discharged already, 2 passed away who came from Congo. Uganda has that experience with all these infectious diseases, and it's amazing to see that we have products of such people, mentees of such people in our midst, and that Olney Friends School, in its broader network, is connected to these people, and they are not the only ones. There are many, many more connected to this little place. But Nelson Sewankambo recorded his address, and class of 2025, Chris Mtavalina is here to project it, and Devin also the sound.
Good morning, graduates, families, faculty, trustees, alumni, and friends of Olney Friends School. Before I begin today, I must acknowledge what many of us wish were different. When I accepted the invitation to serve as your commencement speaker, I fully expected to join you in person on your beautiful campus in Burnsville, Ohio. I looked forward to meeting the members of class of 2026, spending time with faculty and families, and learning more about a school that Christiana Chema, your head, has spoken about with remarkable affection and enthusiasm every time our paths have crossed over the years. Unfortunately, the current Ebola outbreak in Uganda and the resulting travel restrictions put in place by the United States government have made that visit impossible at this time. What a missed opportunity for my learning. Life is full of missed opportunities, but you roll up your sleeves and move on. For several reasons, I regret that turn of events very deeply. I had hoped to walk your campus, sit in meeting for worship, learn from your community, and experience firsthand the place that has clearly captured Christians' imagination and commitment. During the past several months, however, I have learned a lot about Olney Friends School to understand why he speaks about it so often and with much pride. While circumstances prevent me from joining you today in person, I want to make a promise to the Olney community. As soon as conditions allow safe travel, I hope to visit this school and meet many of you face to face. Until then, please accept my gratitude for the extraordinary privilege and honor you have given me to speak to you today. I understand that the members of the graduating class selected this year's commencement speaker themselves. That knowledge makes this invitation especially meaningful. I have spent much of my professional life of more than 40 years working with the students, young professionals, researchers, and future leaders. Few privileges compare with the opportunity in addressing young people at a moment when one chapter of life closes and another opens. To the members of the class of 2026, thank you for inviting me onto this important day in your lives. Over the past several months, I have learned something about your class. I understand that you've spent the year exploring questions of care, responsibility, justice, sustainability, and ethical leadership. I understand that many of you aspire to careers in health sciences. I understand that all of you come from countries in the global south, and that you have wrestled seriously with questions about knowledge, dignity, and what it means to contribute meaningfully to the world. Those themes resonate deeply with my own life's journey. Today, I would like to share a simple lesson that took many years to learn. The lesson is this: pay attention to what the world asks you. When I graduated from medical school, I had a plan for my life. Like many graduates, I imagined a fairly straightforward path. I would practice medicine, I would care for patients, and I would teach and mentor students. I would contribute in whatever ways I could. Then history interrupted those plans. In the early 1980s, physicians in Uganda began seeing a frightening illness. Young men and women arrived in our hospitals with symptoms we did not fully understand. Families watched their loved ones grow weaker. Communities struggled to make sense of what they were witnessing. At the time, nobody knew exactly what this disease was. We lacked money, many of the answers. We lacked many of the answers that people now take for granted. Fear spread quickly. Rumors spread even faster. Yes, yet amid all that uncertainty, one fact remained clear: the people in our communities needed care. They did not need judgment. They did not need speculation. They needed human beings willing to listen, to learn, and serve. Young people had lost hope and thought that life was not worth living. They used to say, we, meaning themselves, we are the walking dead. That experience changed my understanding of leadership. Before then, I associated leadership primarily with expertise. Afterwards, I came to understand that leadership begins with attention. Attention to evidence, attention to people, attention to suffering, and attention to voices that others ignore. Attention to truth, especially when truth remains incomplete. As graduates, you enter a world that often rewards certainty. Many people will tell you they possess all the answers. Many people will urge you to choose to choose sides before you fully understand the question. Many people will ask you to react quickly rather than think carefully. Resist that temptation. Some of the most important work you'll ever do begins with listening. Scientists, teachers, farmer Quakers know that fact of life. You cannot learn what a field needs unless you pay attention to the soil. You cannot learn what a community needs unless you pay attention to its people. You cannot learn what justice requires unless you pay attention to those people who carry the greatest burdens. Your education at Olney Friends School has prepared you well for this challenge. You have learned to live in community. You have learned to work with your hands. You have learned to care for the land. You have learned to sit in worshipful silence. Many schools teach students how to speak. Few schools teach students how to listen. That gift will serve you throughout your lives. The second lesson I would like to share with you is about concerns and success. When people introduce me, they often mention positions, fellowships, awards, and professional accomplishments. I appreciate these recognitions. They reflect the generosity of colleagues, institutions, mentors, students, my family members, communities, and friends who have accompanied me throughout my life. Yet, the moments that remain most meaningful to me rarely appear on the curriculum vitae. A student mentored and who gains confidence, a colleague who discovers her voice, a patient who feels heard, a young researcher who realizes that her ideas matter, a difficult conversation conducted with dignity, and a community strengthened through trust. Those moments rarely attract headlines, yet they leave lasting marks on the world. As you move forward, I hope you'll measure success differently from the way society often measures it. Class of 26, thank you for allowing me to share this day with you. Congratulations on all that you have accomplished. May you go forward with courage. May you go forward with humility. May you go forward with compassion. May you go forward with a commitment to truth, service, and human dignity. These will serve or shape your character. In August 1963, Martin Luther King Jr. here in the United States said, "I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character." May your lives contribute to a healthier, more just, and more humane world. Thank you, and I hope to meet you in person before too long.
Thank you very much, Nelson Sewankambo. And in rooms where we sometimes meet, if someone stands up and says, "Professor," everyone looks at Nelson Sewankambo. And there are so many things told. In many ways, I think he would have been a graduate of Olney Friends School, because his entire life he stepped away from the shiny things that don't serve humanity. And that one he always tells his mentees, I'm one of them. Yes, you can have certain labels and all, but what matters? Are you doing what you're called to do, however difficult it is? And that is it. I've seen this class, they've had so many opportunities to go to the so-called big name schools and all that, and they've thought through. Some are going there, others chosen other things very carefully. Again, with that internal sense of, what do I want to do? Do I just want a sticker? What do I actually want for my life? And there is no greater gift that parents have given these students than that freedom, the permission for them to struggle with those questions about their futures, how they want to walk through other people's lives, what contribution they want to make to this world. And so I think, for sure, I wish he had made it here. I think this class wanted to play a practical joke on me and get someone who's been as tough on me as I've been on them. But you'll get your opportunity soon, and he can tell you as many stories as you want. But for now, we'll settle for the video and know that he's doing work that benefits the entire world. At this point, friends, we are going to have a closing worship. In this moment, if you are moved to say a word or two, please feel free to do so. Again, in a manner of friends, please speak up. And after a while, there will be a handshake that will end the worship. And then the graduating class, they will walk out, our new alumni. They will walk out there and they will give us the signal that it's time for us to leave. And please, Please don't get me into trouble with Anne-Marie Taylor back here, who says we must be at lunch at the appointed time. So once we end, please, everyone, walk to top campus. You'll be tempted to linger here, but for my sake, I beg you, please, let's go to top campus. We'll do all the photos, all the congratulations there. Let's go through lunch. I repeat for the third time, for my sake, when we are done, please, let's go to top campus. Let's get into the dining room. Let's have lunch and celebrate this incredible class. So we'll get into closing worship now. Thank you so much for being here with us.